Destination Euro it is, the morning programme, reaching out all across the world, live to America, live to Australia, New Zealand, live to Canada, live to the Costa regions of southern Spain. We're there. And with me today I have Ciara Cunnigham from Carlingford Adventure Centre. We're going to be joined shortly by Tom McArdle.
Hopefully.
And it's Tom's baby, this Carling.
It is.
Next year you're 25 years in
25 years in business at the Adventure Centre, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're still coming.
Still coming, thankfully, yeah.
Do you
From
get
all
these
over.
people, you know these creatures who come on, what are they called? Hen parties. Do they come to you?
They do, they
Gosh.
do.
You have to take all sorts.
We have to, yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
So the concept all those years ago, Tom and his dear wife, the two of them, they decided to turn their hobby into their business.
That's right. The Adventure Centre started off as a windsurfing school 25 years next year.
Over at the harbour.
At the harbour.
Yeah.
And it has grown and grown and grown. And it's now the biggest adventure centre, I'd say, in Ireland.
Yeah, you see, one of the things we all talked about 30 years ago, we were people at school and at university, oh, we'll do leisure studies. This is the thing of the future. And none of us could get our head around this. But suddenly it's been proved to be true, that it does exist, it works, and people are making, families are making livelihoods from it. And Tom has raised his family from it, and his family, his young son now, as big as Tom, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He's working there. Tom is on his way to us, by the way. He's there as well. So what kind of activities are you covering?
Well,
You're still windsurfing, of
we're
course.
still windsurfing and we're still sailing. We run a fantastic summer camp now for kids to come and do different activities every day during the summer, and that runs all of July and August. And we have laser combat, which is outside in the forest.
What is laser combat?
If you can imagine getting dressed up in combat overalls, getting a replica AK-47,
Oh my
running
God.
around like a lunatic in the forest, shooting at your friends. That's
And you
what
hit them
laser
with
combat
a-
is.
That way there, Tom. Go that way. There you are. He's coming in. So he'll join us now. And we live television requires us to, hello, Tom, we're live on air. Come join us. Drop your coat down and we'll put a microphone on you. So the laser combat is ongoing.
It's ongoing, and then we have rock climbing, abseiling, canoeing, kayaking,
Oh, yeah.
all that fun stuff.
Tom, your phone is off, is it?
Well, I'll put it on.
That's good. And
Actually, I
yours is off
haven't got it
too.
at all.
Good. This is Tom. We're kidding him out now with a microphone.
Very good.
Tom McArdle, the man who created the Carlingford Adventure Centre 25 years ago. And it all started with the windsurfing, Tom. Ciara's been telling us.
Correct. I was doing windsurfing, I enjoyed windsurfing, and then I started to teach it, and I discovered I had a knack for it, and I enjoyed it. And it grew from there. And then it was sort of taking a crossroads, and we decided, what else could we do? So we opened up the Adventure Centre then, you know. We had a building in town that we converted.
Yeah, you're first of all with the windsurfing on the harbour. I think Donnelly and I, I'm going to suggest to you here, now you can shoot me down on this if you wish, but I think Donnelly and I at the Baths in Warren Point were possibly the first windsurfing school on the loch.
We'll have to debate that.
Well, that's another debate we can carry on some other day.
We were maybe sort of...
But certainly you were there. or
We were there
thereabouts.
together.
I'll tell you what, though, he preempted me, Donnelly,
He was
and
a great-
yourself.
John Donnelly's a good man, and he's dead and gone now. He
Great
went
man.
and he died, and it was his final act of unkindness towards me. He went and died. How dare he do that? Something as simple as a heart attack.
I hear you had some fantastic times together.
Don't talk. The Carlingford of PJ McKevitt and yourself as a
Correct.
younger man.
Yeah.
The Carlingford of Joe McKevitt. All of that.
Joe,
and the old
infamous.
teacher who used to sit in the bar on the Saturday morning and the Sunday mornings after Mass. The old gentleman, he was there. He's Carlingford through and through.
Correct, yes.
And-
Gallagher, is it? Was it?
It was Gallagher,
Yeah,
surely.
that's right. There you go,
he
yeah.
was the old
But
man.
them were the old days. We moved on. We moved
Yeah.
on.
You had to move on.
No harm to
Yeah.
reminisce.
We
you know.
didn't move on. Donnelly and I just enjoyed the windsurfing.
Correct,
And
correct,
people,
yeah.
I don't know if you find it, but people came and said, I want to windsurf. And they'd go out, and after the first dozen falling offs, they would sort of politely see their way to the end of the lesson and never come back.
Correct,
But the
correct,
only way to learn windsurfing, and you still teach it, is to go at the beginning of the season, stay to the end of the season, and then with a bit of luck you'll pick it up.
Well, yeah. The thing is, it's not everybody's sport, and you know, if if the challenge, you know, if you find that it's challenging, well, then you will start taking it up, you know, and then I mean, it's not just about out on the water, it's the fresh air, it's the wind, everything, you know, and
When the
just
board,
being out.
when the board starts to sing.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
That's when the dagger board in the middle, or the skeg at the back, it's there, and when she picks up speed off the wind.
Fantastic, fantastic, yeah.
Just, those were good. Those were good days. So you moved from that, and it was a big investment because you went big.
Yes, exponentially we went big. You know, I suppose it took on a life of its own. We didn't really know what to expect. You know, we went in very naively, and but it just took off. Carlingford itself is such a beautiful village, and it has so many, what would you call it, attractions.
Absolutely. Great culture, great history as well.
Nature and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that helped.
Yeah.
And as well as that, then what happened is people started to develop their businesses, like in the pubs, the restaurants.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time you couldn't get a cup of coffee in Carlingford.
True.
Now you have
that.
maybe about 10 or 12 coffee places.
Yeah.
It was Dead Man's Gulch on a Sunday. It was the most
Correct.
awful place on the planet Earth.
No,
It almost seemed that you were in a sort of an ante-room to the planet Mars. There was nothing there. That's how bad it was.
Absolutely.
But men
Sounds
like
bad.
you changed it.
Yeah, well, some of us. At that time as well, Mundley was in the throes of starting up the marina, and that was one of the impetuses to get, you know, we said, well, if they're going ahead with the marina, well, maybe it's a good idea if we go ahead as well, you know, and you know, it worked, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
And it worked. And,
So the windsurfing started, you moved on. What were the other immediate activities when you started to expand?
well, rock climbing, kayaking, canoeing, archery, you know, hill walking,
Yeah.
Yes.
orienteering, you know, they were the basics then, you know.
Yeah.
And now I had no experience in any of those.
No, but I mean, you didn't
But
have
we,
to have.
we brought in
you-
instructors that
Yeah.
had that experience,
Yeah,
you
you were
know.
the
So
manager.
I learned as we
you
went
went
along,
along,
you know,
yeah.
and it was quite a big learning experience,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, at that stage we were probably averaging about 20, 25, 30 a day.
My goodness.
Now we're right up to over 300.
A day?
Absolutely, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, yeah. And now with this new Sky Park, now we are hoping that
You
know.
you were started to tell
Yeah.
me about the Sky Park here.
Well, it's fantastic. Like it launches now on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's open for business on the 14th, so
Yes.
make sure to book at skypark.ie.
Yeah, it's
Um,
skypark.ie.
It's the new zip line adventure park. Wouldn't that be a good description?
Tom,
absolutely, yeah.
you've got to explain to me, an old fellow of 70 now, what is a zip line?
Well, you're connected up onto a wire and you go zip
Wow.
along.
And
Up
over,
about 30 or
over,
40 feet.
over the Grand Canyon sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Well, we haven't a Grand
A big
Canyon
field.
here yet, you know.
Nothing
but-
for
You can replicate in some fashion.
So we have a quarry, all right. We go across the quarry, but in the zip park, it's well, it's across. We have water there as well. We even
Yeah.
have a lovely little pool that we've landscaped and everything. The whole place is landscaped now, and it's absolutely looking
amazing.
fantastic.
It's called
at the
Sky
moment.
Park.
Sky
Sky
Park.
Park.
And
yeah.
is it all zipping in there?
No,
Not all.
There's 4 different sections to it. So there's like a section for the 5 to 8-year-olds, and then there's 3 other harder, more adventurous kind of courses
Different in
for
scale, you know.
yeah, ages 9 and up. Now there's the Stratosphere course, which I think Ron would be good at.
Wow.
It's for kind of like sports elite people, so it's very
you
tough.
think I'm sports elite?
Well, I'm listening to you here bantering about windsurfing, so
We'll
we'll get you up there, I think.
Yeah, and then what's the big one?
It's Stratosphere is the big
Stratosphere.
one. So
Stratosphere,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's breeze, cloud, atmosphere, and stratosphere. So
we only
that gives
do
you an idea.
stratosphere because it's there. That's why we do it.
Correct.
That's why
Well, what we advise is it's quite tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite tough. So what we advise is to go on the lesser one first. And
Yeah.
if they find that a breeze, well, then they
Then
can
they
go
can
on to the
go.
stratosphere,
Yeah.
you know, because I actually have a photograph over there It's quite tough.
Well, that's the
There's
fun
like
of it.
monkey bars and, you know,
Yeah.
like stirrups that you have to climb across. Now, remember, you're suspended about 40 foot in the air. Is it 40 foot the highest one?
That's
So
fine. That's all good.
there's suspension bridges and tree huts and...
Skateboards, you go across
Yeah,
skateboards.
skateboard, yeah.
So,
Seesaw
the-
bridges, everything.
How much is the Ranger Battalion of the Defence Forces paying you to take on their special people and train them for peacekeeping throughout the world?
Well, we've put it out to them, and we've given it a challenge to our local commandant there in Dundalk. That I made a jibe at him that I heard that they weren't trained too well.
Wow. I'm not so slow.
So I said, let's go out there and see how good you are.
Yes,
So
yeah.
so
Of course,
hopefully
you're
we'll get
former
them.
Army yourself.
No,
No, I thought you
police.
were. You're
Police.
a guard.
Garda.
Guard,
Yeah. Yeah.
I always feel, you know, ask a policeman, whatever your stuff, and you're the personification of it. I remember one night in Carlingford, a long, long time ago, I was on my motorbike, and I'd left PJ O'Hare's. This is a true story of, I think you'll recognise this as good policing. I'd left PJ O'Hare's and I'd gone round to the car park where the tourist office is, and I get on my motorbike, and vroom, this is about 11 o'clock, half 11 at night, vroom, to go back to the marina, to my boat where I was living. And before I could move, meow, meow, meow. And I looked, and there he was sitting beside me, the window open. He says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going back to the marina." You'd know this guy, lovely big fella, big bald fellow, I can't remember his name. But this is 40 years ago. But he says, "Hold on a minute." And he got out. He says, "Were you drinking?" I says, "I was, 40 years ago. I was in PJs." "Aye. And you're going to drive?" "I'm only going down to the marina." "Ah, no, you're not." He says, "Now park the bike there." He says, "Now go to that corner." I'm like a wee fella at this point. "Go to that corner of the car park and walk to that corner and then come back to me." Did. He says, "You'll not be taking the bike home tonight." I says, "Can I leave it in PJ's yard?" He says, "Only if you push it there." "Okay." Now he says, "Oh, that's all right. You can switch it off. Go." Who's that, you or me?
It's over there.
Oh, yeah. Andy, throw that out the door. Do something with it. Get it quiet. Tell it to behave itself. But
In the jacket.
Must be.
he came down to the arena the next day where I was working with Pádraig Monley there. And I said to him, "Look, I think what you did last night was very good. Thank you. I'll certainly not do that again." He said, "Well," he said, "there's no point in me arresting you because you would have hated me. Your mother and father would have hated me. Everybody would have hated me. And I wouldn't have been too happy with you. And what good would that have done?" Wasn't that nice
Brilliant,
policing?
brilliant,
He
yeah.
made his point. And
He
it was a
did,
great
yeah,
point.
yeah.
But are you still windsurfing? Is it still in the program?
It's still in the program, certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
And we do sailing as well. But
What is-
personally,
what are you
I do
using?
my sailing myself.
Yeah, what are you sailing?
I'm sailing a Flying 15.
A Flying 15?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
they're,
keel boat.
The keel boat. They're in this club, in this
Yeah.
local club there.
Yeah.
So there's a group of us there sail every
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, so the Flying 15 still exists there.
Oh yeah.
How many have you got?
Well, there's about 12 to 14 in the club
Yeah.
itself, you know. But
Yeah.
consistently, there's only about a half dozen going out
Used
each
to be
week.
lasers, didn't it?
Lasers and
Do they still do the
and
lasers?
GP14s way back.
Ah, way back.
Way
oh
back,
my
yeah.
goodness!
That's
now
right, yeah. It's
that's
classic
World
boat.
War II stuff. We're
There you
almost
go.
there. I bought one of the first sailing boats I bought was Tor. Do you remember who owned the GP14 Tor?
No.
Des Gorman.
Oh, Des.
Des's boat there.
Very good, yeah.
It was good.
Well, you know that I was windsurfing one day and there was a GP14 race on.
Yes.
And I decided I'd join it.
Oh yeah.
And we were round the mark with, oh, you know him, I'm just thinking. But anyway, I realised that I wasn't going to make it and I might collide. But I did worse than that.
Oh.
I hopped off the board and the board shot forward
Oh, sweet God.
and hold the GP40. Hanratty.
Laurie.
Laurie.
Hanratty. Yeah. You can see that this is common ground.
Oh my God.
That we're on here.
Huh?
You didn't do that to Laurie's boat.
Absolutely, and he was very good about it, I must say.
Ah, yeah. Well, the other occasion was when Jim Slater's Flying 15 went aground just fenenced in the North Common and went aground and damaged itself. And with myself and one other, Jim, the three of us, we refloated her.
Yeah.
We stuffed stuff into the damaged area and we got her safely back into the run of things.
There you go.
But that's what we always did. We helped
That's
one
correct.
another.
Do you remember the incident where another local boat went aground, a yacht.
Yes.
And the British patrol boat came along.
Yes.
And said, "Do you need any help?" And well, we have to wait until the tide floats her, you know.
Yeah.
So they skipped off and came back with a dozen beer, and give the crew a dozen beer. So they floated it eventually anyway. But then they went down to Skerries Tour race, and on the way back, they were. The British attempted to board them. Yeah, stopped them with the rib, and they wouldn't let them onto the boat. But eventually they had to because they got.
But I mean, the kind of, I'm only interrupting you
Yeah.
very, very briefly. Hold your train of thought.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we would always have said to the Marines, you are welcome on my boat, but you will leave your SLR on your own boat.
Sure,
we didn't
yeah.
mind the sidearms.
Sure, yeah.
But no, because in a moving boat, an accident could have happened.
That's right.
And we always got on
Yeah,
all right.
well, true enough. And eventually, anyway, they boarded the plane or the boat and searched it, and of course there was nothing on the boat. And then they recognised the guys. It was the same guys that they gave the beer to.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, that's the thanks we get for giving you the beer. And one of the fellas says, "We wouldn't sell our country for a dozen beer."
Then there was the night. There was the night I saved Iskra, Frank Mulville and his wife. They were quite. It was a lovely, lovely traditional boat in from the south, from Maldon in the south of England.
My gosh, yeah.
And it was one of our famous marina storms when the pontoons were like that. Now we saved Iskra by Frank and his wife. Frank and his wife's name I can't remember, but it was a lovely boat. They were a genteel old couple, and they were sitting. I said, "Are you all right?" And they said, "I think we would be fine. There's a lot of movement." I said, "Well, your
Fenders.
fenders aren't going to do the job for you. We'll sort it out." And back up with, I think it was Laurie. No, it wasn't Laurie. Anyway, we went back, Larry Butler. We went back up and we got 2 tractor tires, of which there were many lying about the marina, as you remember. And we walked them down, wheeled them down, and got them down, tied them on and put them in, got them in there, and saved the boat.
Saved
that
the day,
night.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
remembered that and
Very
was
good,
always
yeah.
very grateful for so doing.
Just talking about the marina now, you know, this new greenway is opening up shortly.
Wonderful. Will we be able to walk from
Should be.
from Newry?
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully,
well,
eventually, yes.
yeah, but immediately, where can I join the Greenway?
Well, you can join it at Greer's Quay.
Yeah.
That's near where the town village was. You
Yes.
know. But it actually goes on a bit further, but you have to meander in and out off the road,
Yeah.
the main road, which is not too
So one
great
can
idea
join
at
it
the moment.
there.
But it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I've walked it
course.
several times.
Yeah.
But not alone that, you can go from the centre of Carlingford, you can go right up and in through the forest and walk on down through the forest to the car
Yeah.
park and walk on back down, and they can do a
Fantastic.
complete
Circuit,
circuit.
yeah.
And it's fantastic.
So when we go down on the walkway, the Greenway, and when we arrive in Carlingford, tell the people where they find you.
Close to PJ's.
So it is close to PJ's. You stagger. No, you leave PJ's and turn left.
Not in it, but
No.
just opposite PJ's.
Opposite, it's a castle. It's a castellation.
There's oh gosh, my mind's gone
It's like
blank.
a castle, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
the
Mint.
mint, the mint,
The Mint,
yeah,
yeah. You're next door to the old
That's
Mint.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very deceiving. It's quite a narrow entrance.
Yes.
But we have actually accommodation for 180 in there.
It's called the Carlingford TARDIS. That's what it is. You go in and suddenly for this tiny, tiny door, wow, there it is.
That's
Goodness
it,
gracious,
yeah.
it's great.
But at the moment we have French
Yeah.
staying with us, Spanish, Italians staying with us. Next week we're getting Mexicans. Yeah, so you know we are spreading our wings,
Yeah.
and
Have you any special room that I can pull a lever and get rid of all the hen parties in Christendom?
impossible at the moment.
You have to take them too.
Well, they're an income stream.
Of course,
that,
of course, of course.
can't
For the
be
whole of
denied.
Carlingford,
you know,
yeah.
For everything, for all of Carlingford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the hens and stags are fine. They're,
Okay.
you know, but you get the odd one which can be troublesome. You know,
Okay,
but
yeah.
you know, at the moment we have to live with it, and you know,
great.
and it creates a good
As long
atmosphere at
as
the weekends.
people
Yeah.
behave.
Correct.
That's all
That's
you
it.
have. Civility and proper behaviour
Correct,
is the whole
yeah,
way.
yeah,
but you
yeah.
were lucky getting this woman, how long ago? 10 years ago?
10 years
Yeah.
ago.
How did you come across each other?
I actually applied
She was
for
desperate
a job.
for a job, so she was.
And they were desperate also. I was working in Belfast, and I just thought travelling from Mullaban to Belfast,
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
So I did. You were laughing about sport and leisure studies. I actually studied sport and leisure studies at Jordanstown, and that's where my background was. So, and then I found Carnford Adventure Centre, and I thought, I think I could work for
Yeah.
those guys.
But
so
she,
I
at one
tortured
stage, she
them
worked
a
for
job.
Mickey Mouse. She worked for
Disney,
Disneyland.
yes.
Yeah. By the way, condolences on Arma's performance.
Yeah,
It's,
he just has to get that in,
That's it,
Rowan. It's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
You can't slag Armagh.
no, but he's of the county of God, Lou.
Please.
You know, and he will come again. So,
Yeah.
if one wanted to sail with you, what would one be sailing?
Well, basically, we have only little
Lasers.
Picos.
Picos,
Picos. They're a beginner's boat.
I love lasers. I love
Yeah.
GP14s, but the other wee things, toppers and peak. Yeah.
Well, they're good for
It's for
starting
beginners,
off.
I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
The thing I started with, and you'll know the boat, it was an iconic boat at the time. It was about 14 feet long. It wasn't a GP14, it was smaller. It was a mirror
dinghy, yeah.
They've
yeah.
disappeared off the market completely.
Well, yeah, I think the toppers have taken over, and then the Picos and the lasers have taken, have replaced them.
Yeah.
They're more durable. They're more,
Yeah.
they can take more. What's the word? Abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abuse. So they're.
Well, it's not in the sense that you would give them abuse, but in the way of things, in the coming and going of what you do. Kit gets thumped and gets hammered.
Yeah.
But at the heart of what you're doing is safety and proper behavior. Andrew, bring it over to the woman and she'll switch it
It's
off herself.
Tom's, it's not mine.
It's Tom's, bring it over. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all right. It
you
won't
just,
go
you
again.
put it on the-
No, the heart of it is proper behavior, respect for the sea.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
we've
Okay.
had so many, but thankfully not so many from our own sailing and boating fraternity, but from those who go on the sea for occasional pleasure trips, for those who go to the sea for fishing mussels and the rest of it. We've had our share of tragedies.
We had, yeah.
But even
You
young
know.
ones, that tragedy. It was at Castle Welland where they went out in a canoe.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
don't,
goodness,
on
the lake
that's
and the
just
park.
when they come to us, they're taught proper procedures and
Yeah.
with proper instructors and.
And are you finding, Tom, that that people will listen and they leave you with the certainty, I will wear a buoyancy aid, with the certainty that if I'm out on a yacht, I will use a lifeline, whatever. Are they absorbing it? Is there an appetite for doing the right thing, or are they still gung-ho and wanting to do it their way?
Well, you'll get a certain amount that will break all the rules.
Yeah.
But the majority will, and they can see the benefits of wearing a life jacket, and you can see how safe they are.
Yeah. And they're easy to wear.
And they're easy to wear. Yeah.
They're barely noticeable.
Yeah.
But do you think, Tom, I rather think more and more nowadays they're being used. Like I saw the time when mussel boats, when they were going to be inspected, they would have shared, I'm coming to you today to inspect you, and I'm coming to you next week. Well, I would have had my fire extinct, all the rest of it on my boat and all my safety gear. Then I transported to my mate's boat, and he was going, goodness
Correct, yeah.
gracious. Some of the things that went on, it was no
Well,
wonder.
the regulations are such now that they
They're
have
good.
to.
They have to.
But
Thank God for it.
Yep.
Thank God for it.
Yeah.
So,
Going back to the Sky Park now.
yes.
We had a French guy over training our trainers.
Yes. Yeah.
And they have governing body rules for ropes. They call it high ropes, right? And it's quite detailed. And but they were saying you don't have to worry about this. Don't have to worry about this because your harnesses are ultra safe.
Yeah.
So that's good. At an expense,
Yeah,
but it's peace of mind.
Well, I
It's
was going to
peace of
say,
mind.
it lets you sleep at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Correct.
You don't
correct,
have the
yeah.
boats in bed with you.
Basically,
You're not worried.
the system is that you hook on to a safety line,
Yeah.
but you have two hooks.
Yeah.
You have two connections, and one will always be locked,
Yes.
and you can't unlock it until you come back down.
Yeah.
So all the time you're up there,
You
there's
can't
at least
get off.
one locked.
Yeah.
So it's it's quite safe.
Yeah.
You might fall off it, but you would fall onto
Oh, yeah,
your
just-
harness,
Yeah.
and you don't go anywhere. And you
I
just,
saw the mayor of London, Boris, that time he did a zip line thing, and he didn't get the whole way. And the mayor of London with his mop of white hair, like this here, hanging in midair. It was the worst PR thing ever you saw in your born days. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But listen, what we'll do, if we may, I have a very, very skillful reporter on the programme, a great researcher as well, Sarah Gilbert. It might be nice if Sarah came down to you at a time that's mutually suitable.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
give the whole thing a go.
we'd love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great?
Fantastic,
And then
yeah.
we will have a kind of mini documentary. We'll put it out on the programme. It'll be good fun.
Super. That'll be
Good,
great.
yeah.
be good.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
coming in. You're great.
Thanks very
it's lovely
much.
shooting. Do you know what I'm beginning to feel, Tom? 10 years ago, I stopped boating. When I found
That was-
Africa and India, I went there and I stopped boating. I'm just starting to get an awful
It's true.
draw to the boat again. What should I be looking for? What's around?
Oh, there's another folk boat hanging around there still. You could.
Still?
I
Is
think
there?
so. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I don't know whether it has a pot-bellied fire.
My folk boat, mahogany on oak, pot-belly stove-burning turf, brass oil lamps, an absolute. I used to cook and had magnificent feasts on it.
There you
And
go.
I would get lovely, lovely flowers from the hedgerows and decorate the boat. And I'd be dressed for dinner. I'd have my tuxedo on me coming down to the folk boat, and I would bring the special roast that had on up in the marina, and I'd have the silver dome that covers it, and I'd be coming back down in my tuxedo and my colleague shouted out, Rowan, he said, what are you, I said, I'm dining in tonight. Oh, he said, is that what they call it nowadays? They were very cruel to me. They gave me a terrible time.
I hear you had a very dodgy gangplank.
Gangplank.
Yeah, I think John's one time sort of went over the side on it from it.
I'm not sure about that. I can't remember John going over the side, but what I do remember was burning my arse.
Oh.
I was at night time very late on. The stove at this stage is red hot, and I was trying to get back into my bed. My bunk was on board my own, and I'm getting it, and I slip, and I go flying across the cabin, and the left cheek of my backside lands on the front of the turf burning stove.
Lovely.
And I am branded with the words Faversham across my backside on the thing. That was that occasion. But the other thing I did it one winter down at the marina. There was a boy came in, he was in trouble. He had stuff around his propeller.
All right, yeah.
So he couldn't understand it. I said, okay, let's sort it. They were faffing about, rages. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I just walked down and said, what's wrong? I said, okay, stand back. And I had my knife, and I'd seen it, and I'd put a woolen jumper on, and into the water, stepped into the water, handed myself down into the lapped my legs around the rudder, and cut it off like that there, come back up, threw it into the cockpit, pulled myself out of the water, and went back to continue my dinner.
Did the jumper keep you warm?
What it actually helped, but most importantly, it limited the amount of punctures I got in my back from the buoyancy pulling me up into the hull.
Sure, yes,
and hitting the
yes.
barnacles.
There you go.
Thanks for coming in. We've got
Thank
to
you
close
very much,
now.
yeah. Thank
Welcome,
you.
and
Thank
good
you,
to see you.
Rowan.
Come
You
back
too.
again.
We
You're
will,
welcome,
Shirley,
Ciara.
we will.
Tom, God love
Rowan,
you. And we'll
good to see
we'll
you.
get your email and we'll send you the link for this. You
Okay.
put it on your website. The name of the place